Hi everyone, it's me, Charlena, back with today's Tuesday's Talk. And today I want to talk about men's health, which of course is a giant topic. So, really, actually, one little aspect of men's health I'm going to cover. And so, valid question. My audience is like something like 98% women. So, why am I talking to y'all about men's health? I will preface this with I am well aware that women do very large amounts of unappreciated, unpaid, and unrecognized, and probably unwanted emotional labor and managing of households and coordinating and things like that. And while it might not be our responsibility to manage the adult men in our lives' health, whether it's mental or emotional or otherwise, the reality is women's primary role, I mean, it's just kind of what we do, is to bring forth life and to protect it and preserve it and nurture it. So I'm talking about the people who, will do something about what I'm about to talk about. So that's why I'm talking to you guys about it, or you women, more accurately. So this is what it is. Did you know that 60% of men admit that they will only go to the doctor if they are very seriously ill? So that means they're just not doing much as far as preventative care goes. They're just skipping right over those yearly annual exams. Now, I will say, as someone who is obviously an advocate and a practitioner of holistic and alternative health measures, I understand limiting your engagement with the mainstream medical system. However, there is a big difference between consciously limiting your engagement with those systems and just not going to the doctor, not doing any, self-care, not having a reason why you're not going, but just going every 7 years, 12 years, five, something like that. um oh, you know what, I'll give you an example. So there was a time where the standard was to get your teeth cleaned once a year, to visit your dentist once a year. Now you may have noticed that the standard is every 6 months. Every 6 months, you go to the dentist, you get your teeth checked, and you get your teeth cleaned. I'm going to admit right here, I no longer go every 6 months. But that was a conscious decision based on my oral health care needs. For instance, I started oil pulling several years ago. I got much better with flossing. I hadn't had a cavity in years. Every time I went, the dentist was like, "Oh my gosh, your teeth look great," and it was kind of like a waste of time. And and plus I have like these great tools where I can scrape the plaque off myself or anyway. So I only go every year, so every 8 months, 8 months to a year. That would not be wise if I had porous teeth, if I had a genetic disposition to gum disease or things like that. Heck, it might not be wise anyway. But the point is, wellness visits and preventative care are important, and making a conscious decision on when you go is important, and not neglecting it. It gets worse. So, men also say that when they go to the doctor, or at least some study found, I think it was this Cleveland study I came across, that oftentimes they don't really share what's really going on with them and all of their health concerns, and sometimes they even lie about how they're taking care of their health. No bueno. In fairness or defense to them, 41% even admitted that growing up they were told not to complain or talk about their health concerns. So it's kind of one of those things where like, men don't talk, men don't do this, men don't do that, and then we tell them, but then when when they're young, we're like, man up, or don't talk about that, or be strong and tough. So it's like, okay, they're getting mixed messages. And they're also not really discussing their healthcare needs or concerns with their friends. And of course, we know, especially as women, like part of your mental and emotional health and just like sharing of information is like we talk to each other, we share our concerns with each other, we learn a lot from each other. So a lot of times men aren't doing this either. So just no good, basically. Now, why aren't they going to the doctor? Well, there's lots of reasons, but one of the main reasons is they really don't like and who can blame them? They don't like things like colon and rectal exams and prostate exams and testicular exams. Can't blame them, but guess what? We also don't like getting mammograms. So they have their reason, but they need to go. And this is something that I was not aware of. So men should start getting like cholesterol screenings. I'm gonna get this right. I put it on my notes. So blood pressure, cardiovascular. So it wasn't blood pressure. Yeah, sorry, it was blood pressure. Blood pressure, cardiovascular, and coronary heart disease starting age 20, which makes sense because remember I was saying like you want a baseline so you can know, like for instance, if you're like 38 or something and the doctor's like, oh my gosh, your cholesterol, and you can say, no, actually doctor, my cholesterol has been holding steady since I was 23 or whatever. So you need to know, you need to go to the doctor so you can have a baseline of where you are and get your blood work done and all these different type of things. Also, by age 50, they should have their first prostate, colon, or rectal, and testicular exam. Caveat though, there's something that I came across that I had no idea, which is really important. 1 in 250 men will develop testicular cancer. I had no idea. That's a lot. And half of those men, and that was kind of like, yikes, that's shocking. Half of those men will have it or will be diagnosed with it under the age of 35. So someone can be like, late 20s, early 30s, and you think, oh, they're young, they're virile, they're strong, they don't really need to, they're healthy as an ox. They still need to have visited the doctor, I would say at least every couple years, to have their testicular exam. Because, great news, if it's caught early, it's 95% curable. And that's what we want. Also, supposedly men are supposed to, I had no idea, they're supposed to be doing monthly self-exams like women are supposed to be doing breast self-exams. I don't know anything about that. Maybe one day I'll have a guy talk about that and like walk through the steps and what they're supposed to be doing and what they're supposed to be looking for. So these are important things as far as men's health that's not often talked about. What else did I want to say about that? I think that was it. That's mostly it, is that a lot of men are not going to their wellness visits. It's really important that they do. It's really important that we encourage them to, especially since they're not naturally sharing like health information with each other because it's just something that they often don't talk about. But there's lots of good news. So one of the good news is that like 80% of men said that their health is like of a primary concern of theirs, and that they try really hard to maintain their health, not just for themselves, but for their family. So it's something that they know is important and that they are interested in maintaining. And also, 20% of them admitted that the reason why they went to the doctor is because someone that they loved in their life was bothering them about it and nagging them. So nagging works. That's why we do it. So this is my challenge to you, women folk out there. And hey, the few men that watch. Reach out to someone in your life that's a male sometime in the next week, whether it's your nephew, your grumpy uncle, your older brother, your father, your husband, your boyfriend, and just open up a dialogue and ask them when was the last time they saw their doctor. Ask them if they do testicular self-exams, if you can ask them with a straight face, and then encourage them to make a doctor's appointment. I would say, actually, because of COVID, that could be a great excuse. Most people aren't really going, seeing their healthcare practitioners because of COVID. And you could just say, hey, I bet like when COVID's finally over, it's going to be really hard to get an appointment. Doctors will be inundated. Let's make an appointment now. And then you can just like make it off in the distance, July, August, September, November. It'll be like way out there and they'll be more likely to make it. And then when it comes time, they'll go, hopefully. Okay, so that's all I have. That's my Tuesday's talk. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're watching this on Facebook, please like and comment. Oh, and I finally finished my bench. So in the comments, I'll post, if you like one of my other videos, I talked about how I was going to like redo the bench that goes in front of my herbal apothecary. My dad helped me. We did it together. We finished the bench. And I'll post the before and afters in the comments below. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.